You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again today. We have another show lined up for y'all. We're going to have a special guest today. And man, we're going to learn all about being a thoughtful leader and why you should care about that and why it's important. We're going to talk to Nicky Billou. He has an amazing website that we'll discuss later in the show, ecircleacademy.com. But man, this guy is massively successful. He's the #1 international best-selling author of book Finish Line Thinking. And man, we're going to learn all about his backstory. First and foremost, I want to welcome you, Nicky, to the show and say, how you doing?
Shemai, I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here.
Man, thank you for taking the time. So today's subject, man, a thoughtful leader and why we should care. Kind of illustrate with the audience a little bit, kind of the backstory of you and some of the successes you've been able to have and when you decided to start eCircle Academy.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. And when I was a young boy, just 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall that this was not going to be a great place for him to raise his family anymore because the relatively benign dictatorship of the Shah gave way to the absolute tyranny of the mullahs. And so Dad made a plan and got us out of Iran. And eventually we settled in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where I still now live. I thank God every day that my dad did that because he changed the trajectory of our family and our legacy. He took us out of tyranny, brought us into freedom. And he was an entrepreneur, he was a good man. He was an uplifter of people. Like if he knew you and you needed a job, he'd help you find a job. If he knew you and you were trying to start a business, he'd help you start a business. If he knew you and you worked for him and you were trying to buy a car or a home or an apartment, he would help you buy that car, that home or apartment. If you didn't have enough money, he'd top you up. And you might ask yourself, well, why? Why would he do that? Who does that? Well, first of all, the late, great Napoleon Billou, he did that. And why is, well, he was a Christian. He believed he'd been blessed by God, and it was his duty as a man who'd been blessed by God to share those blessings with other people. And he also did it because he could. He was successful. He had the money to be able to help people. I wanted to be like my dad. My dad was a good man. I wanted to be like him. And so I wanted to help people. I wanted to help good people. And here's what I did. I eventually became an entrepreneur just like him. And the field I got into was the field of helping other entrepreneurs be successful, the whole area of thought leadership, right? And so one of the first things I noticed, Shemaya, is there was a lot of good people out there, business owners, who were really good at what they did. You know what I mean? Like they were a good real estate agent, or they were a good mortgage broker, or they were a good business coach, right? But they weren't necessarily good business people. You know what I mean? They didn't understand marketing or sales or, how to hire people, how to fire people, how to deal with finances. All those things were a bit of a mystery to them. And so what I decided to do was I decided to help these folks because I came from a business family. My dad was a business owner. I understood business. I studied business in school. And in particular, I understood sales and marketing really, really well. And a big problem a lot of people have is, you know how you hate those pushy salespeople that come up to you and try to sell you something you don't need when you're like in a place like a Best Buy?
Yeah.
Everybody hates that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes that. So a lot of folks, they don't want to come across like that person. So the problem is they back away from going after a business they legitimately should be going after, right? They don't try to make that sale because, they don't want to come across badly. And what happens is they don't get that business. So they don't make that money that they should be making, And I saw this and I thought to myself, well, what if I can teach folks how to think about sales differently? So they don't think about it as being pushy and salesy. Instead, they think about it as service, Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody loves to be served by a good human being.
Yeah.
So when I taught people how to think about it as service, and obviously it's more than just telling you this, it takes time to rewire your thinking. Well, once that happened, people doubled, tripled, quadrupled how much they sold. That was really important. That was a great first step in helping people become successful. And to be a thought leader, my dad used to always say, business and life are not about numbers or money. They're about people. Person sitting in front of you, that's someone's son, that's someone's daughter, that's someone's brother, someone's sister, maybe even someone's wife or husband. That's a good human being that's sitting in front of you. You know, they might have a kid, they might have a spouse, somebody who really cares about them, somebody who counts on them. And it's your job to just see that that's a human being and not just another sale in your book. And if you do that, you focus on people. Remember that all business is about solving problems for people for profit. Problems, people, and profit. You're going to be in great shape.
Man, that's some good stuff right there. And with that being said, I like the approach with sales and versus service. When you are helping your clients to get better at that, when people are trying to find themselves, their brand in a market, is it a better idea to be more specific as you can, or is it safe to be as general as you can?
Well, that's a great question. It's my opinion that the more specific that you are, the more narrow your focus, the better. I can tell you a story. There was a young man that I met a few years ago. He was a fitness coach, right? I met him. He was 25 years old, full of piss and vinegar, really wanted to go out there and get things done. Really was a good fitness coach, but he wasn't a good businessman. Didn't know how to sell, didn't know how to market himself. Tried to sound like everybody else. When I asked him, so who do you help? He said, oh man, I can help anybody. I can help you if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to put on muscle, if you're trying to enter competition. I can help you. And I'm like, man, that's not going to work. You can't be all things to all people because then you're nothing to nobody. Yeah. And he said, no, but really, I can help anybody. And I'm like, what do you mean? Anybody with a wallet and a pulse, buddy? So he laughed and he said, that's funny. That's a good one. I guess so. And I said, no, you got to narrow your focus. So he narrowed his focus. He said, I got it, man. My dad is a doctor. I love my dad. Doctors make a lot of money. Let me go after them. And I'm like, listen, bud, if your message to doctors is, I love my dad, my dad's a doctor, and you doctors make a lot of money, they're not going to want to buy from you. And he said, no, I'm going to try this. Well, he tried it. It didn't work. So I called him up and I said, Danny, we need to change this. His name was Dan. And he said, okay. Let me change it. And then he goes, okay, I got it. I'll work with cardiologists. Man, they make more money than regular doctors. And I'm like, oh my God, buddy, you're not getting it. It didn't work. Then all of a sudden, just through luck, through serendipity, he meets a guy who was a Paralympic athlete, had a missing leg since childhood. And these two hit it off. They did great work together. And he helped this guy get really fit, enter a competition, win some medals. That was a big deal, right?
Wow.
Well, then he comes to me and he goes, okay, oh my God, Nicky, I get it, man. This was a big mistake. You know, I've been trying to go for the money. I should be just trying to help people. I really love working with this man. I want to work with people with missing limbs. I know how to help them. And I said, yeah, that's a much better idea. Go do that. So he went after folks with missing limbs in a short period of time, a very, very short period of time. He signed up 400 clients. He went from 7 clients to 400 in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And that's because he got very narrow and specific, but he wasn't going after the money. He was going after for a group he could help. Nobody else was trying to help people with missing limbs because they didn't think they could work out, but he knew better. And because he knew better, he was able to make it happen, brother.
Once again, listen to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, Nicky Billou. You can go to his website, ecircleacademy.com. Today, we're talking about all about thought leadership and why you should care. I mean, what you just said, that story was a perfect example of why people should care. But I'm going to let you kind of touch on that even more. Someone listens right now. Why should they care so much? Because what I'm hearing from that story too is him understanding the purpose of his brand and how powerful that becomes with his marketing. Because now he's marketing something that has a definition to it versus, oh, I'm just a fitness guy. You need help, I got you. It's more specific and has more meaning to his brand.
Well said. Like, what is the difference between thought leadership and being just an expert? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, an expert is somebody who knows something, but experts are a dime a dozen, right? But a thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something, right?
Yeah.
Let's just put it to you this way. In the sport of basketball, right? Who would you rather start your team with? Jim Smith or LeBron James?
Man, that's a good question. I'm going to say LeBron because...
It's the right answer. LeBron's the man. He's the man you know to be the great basketball player of his era.
Yeah.
You could probably say over the last 20 years, he's been the best basketball player of the last 20 years. He's one of the GOATs. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right? He's one of the GOATs, right? He's right up there with Wilt Chamberlain. He's right up there with, Magic Johnson, right up there with Bill Russell, Larry Bird. He's that kind of talent, right?
Exactly.
If you're in business, you want to be the LeBron James of your space. You want people to know you as the go-to guy.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between thought leadership and expertise. Expertise is table stakes. Thought leadership is next level. And you want to be next level. You want everybody to know who you are and why they should do business with you. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm glad I'm glad there's not like a famous Smith out there because at first I was like, wait, who is that? Of course I'm gonna pick LeBron, but yeah, it's also like what your point is. Someone who's known for that, and does it take time? This is what we're talking about. It's not something you can just do in 5 minutes and then everyone sees you as this greatness.
So it takes time.
This takes time, doesn't it?
It takes time. Yeah. 100%. It takes time.
And that requires some kind of level of commitment to the individual who is serious enough saying that they want to do something that's bigger than themselves. Because it goes back to what you talked about with your dad earlier in the show about how much he allowed himself to be available. Because today's world, I mean, everybody's quote unquote too busy, but they'll be watching Netflix within like 5 minutes. It's just about their priorities and what they are really choosing what or what not to do. But why should a person truly care about going into the process, even when they don't see results immediately? Why is it still important to care about staying within the process?
Because if you don't care, you're going to lose. And if you do care, you're going to win. That's the bottom line, right? If you want to be successful, you've got to stay with it in the long haul. You can't be like uncommitted. You got to be committed. You got to be in it to win it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Uh-huh.
It's super important for you to be in it to win it, not in it just, I'll give it a shot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No, you can't live like that. You can't do business like that. It doesn't work. You got to be, first of all, you have to be decisive. You got to make a decision that you're going to be successful. Okay. That's first and foremost. You with me? Second thing you got to do is you've got to be one of those folks that is going to be committed. There's no substitute for commitment to victory. Then you got to be coachable. You got to find mentors and coaches, and you got to be coachable. And then last but not least, you got to be resourceful. You got to come up with the time, the money, and the energy to get it done. It's the only way to have success be yours.
I love that you mentioned money because that's not the hottest topic right now. Not everyone, let me clean that up. A lot of people mention money. And sometimes the response is, "Oh, I don't have it. I don't have it." What do you say to that individual who says they don't have it? And maybe they don't at the moment. But what do you say to that individual for them to look beyond their current circumstances and practice on what it is they need to do, position themselves better in the future?
That's a really good question. So I'll tell you a personal story from my own life, okay? So first and foremost, a few years ago, I was going through a hard divorce. You know what I mean? Like a really, really hard divorce. My then wife, seemingly out of the blue, she didn't seem to want to be married to me anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. I went into a bad place. My business tanked. I was a grown-ass man sleeping on his mother's couch. I had two sons, And so, anyways, long story short is, I came to this conference. I saw this man, Dilbert, talk. It really spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? Really, really spoke to me. As a result of it speaking to me, I walked up to the guy at the end of the talk and I said to him, "Hey, I think I need to hire you, And he said, "Okay, well, what you need to know is my minimum fee is $5,000 for 5 hours of my time." And I'm like, "Damn, I don't have that kind of money." He said, "I also don't offer any refunds.
Wow.
Don't give any discounts. No guarantees, and you got to pay me up front." And I'm like, "I don't have that kind of money." And he said, "I know. I'm going to give you some free coaching." I said, "Oh, yeah, free coaching. I love it." He said, "It doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is, how bad do you want change?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?" He said, "Your business is tanking. Your wife has left you. You're sleeping on your mother's couch. How bad do you want change? Or do you want to keep doing this way?" You got to understand, Shemai, I did not like what this man had to tell me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did not like it one freaking bit. But he was right. Right? He was right. So I said, "Okay, give me a couple days. Let's make an appointment. I'll come back and see you." I'm like, "All right. No problem. Totally, we can do it." Right? So I had a lot of urgency. I approached a couple people. I was a fitness coach back then. I approached a couple people that I'd been hemming and hawing about whether or not to do work with me. Right? So I called them up with a lot of urgency and I said, hey, it's Nicky. I got good news for you. You're fat and you need to lose weight, and I'm broke and I need money. So let's make a deal." So I'm gonna work with you and get you skinny, half price. But there's only one catch. And he said, "Okay, well, what's the catch?" He said, "The catch is really, really, really simple. The catch is that you got to pay me right now and you got to pay me in full. Otherwise, the deal's off." I'm like, "Damn, all right, I'll do it." Right? And so I had $2,000. I was excited. $2,000, right?
Uh-huh.
Walked over to Bill, this fellow that I was talking to, and I said, "Hey, here's $2,000. He said, "I said 5. And I said, "Oh my God. All right, listen, man, Bill, how many people over your career have you given the speech you gave me to?" He said, "Oh, well, that's easy. 30, 40 over the years." I'm like, "Okay, 30, 40 over the years. Sounds good. Besides me, who else came back with any money?" And he said, "Oh, that's easy too. You're the first." I'm like, "I'm the first." And he said, "Yeah." So I said to him, "Okay, listen, take my money. And, what you got to do now is sign a contract with me, and I'll pay you the rest in 30, 60 days, whatever the case may be." So we did that. We worked together. Within 6 months, I made $100,000.
Wow.
And yeah, $100,000. That's right. Damn straight. And within 2 months, I paid him off in full.
Wow.
And that's the power of being resourceful. You with me? That's the power of being resourceful. You need to be resourceful. There is no other way to victory, right? You got to do it. There is no other way to victory. None. Zero. If you're resourceful, you're going to win. If you're not resourceful, you're going to lose. So you got to be decisive, committed, coachable, and resourceful. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I have to ask this question. Was part of your success in those moments, was it you being confident, or was it you being desperate and gaining confidence over time?
Well, brother, I don't use the word desperate to describe myself.
Well, I mean, just for making it.
I had a lot of adversity that I was dealing with. You with me?
Yeah.
And that adversity is what got me to a place where I was ready to act, right?
Mm.
And I knew that I needed a result, and I was ready to do whatever it took to get that result. Bottom line.
That's it right there. Man.
Yeah.
Once again, listen to Refocus Radio, talking to Nicky Billou. You can go to his website, eCircleacademy.com. And while we still have you here, let's talk about eCircle Academy. Can you tell us a little bit about that website and how people can schedule a success call with your team?
Well, look, all you got to do is go to that website. There's all kinds of free resources there. Take advantage of those resources. And if you want to have a real conversation about how to take your business from tragic to magic, go to eCircleacademy.com/appointment and book a call with me. That's success call is free. Okay. The only thing we ask that you do is, be somebody with a real business.
Mm-hmm.
Be a serious person. That's why we have a screening form at the beginning. As long as you fill out that screening form, we will absolutely work with you to help you figure out where you're at, where you want to get to, and why you're not there yet.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is my offer to anybody who's here, who's got a business and wants to add 1 or 2 zeros to it.
That's awesome. And you also have an ebook that people can get access to. Can you share with the audience a little bit about that ebook?
Yeah, it's on the same website, eCircleacademy.com. And all you got to do is go to that website, and it'll say, download your free ebook. Click on it, and it's yours.
Listen to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest for today, Nicky Billou. And today's topic is all about thought, leadership, and why you should care. Man, I hope you got a lot out of this. Great stories from you, Nicky. And I just, thanks for not just sharing your expertise and your wisdom on the show, but really making it personal by sharing with the audience some of the adversities that you yourself had to overcome in order for you to really propel yourself to where you are today.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.